So now we're going to discuss about the structure of kidney. Kidney is basically the main excretory organ, as previously told. It is basically around 5 to 6 inches long and 10 to 12 centimeter. 5 to 6 inches, 10 to 12 centimeter in length. It is having its position as retroperitoneal. It is having retroperitoneal position. Retroperitoneal position is there of kidney, which means retroperitoneal is an anatomical position in which the organs are present on the posterior side, on the dorsal side, on the posterior side, or on the which are in which the organs are present on the dorsal side of the abdomen, or the dorsal side of the abdominal cavity, below the abdominal cavity. So when the organs are present, let's suppose, let me just try to draw the structure over here, or let me just clarify that in diagram as well. So on the back side, on the posterior side, what we are having is basically, on the posterior side we are having the vertebral column, and on the posterior side, on the posterior side we are having the vertebral column, and on the either side of vertebral column we are having the kidneys, and these kidneys start from the 12th thoracic vertebrae and end in third lumbar vertebrae, from 12th thoracic to third lumbar vertebrae, and these are found at the 11th and 12th rib, which are also known as floating ribs, and these are found below the rib cage. So this arrangement, in which these are found on the posterior abdominal cavity on either side of the vertebrae, from the 12th thoracic vertebrae to third lumbar vertebrae, and are below the rib cage and under the 11th and 12th rib, floating ribs, are known as the retroperitoneal arrangement. This arrangement is known as the retroperitoneal arrangement. So this is an anatomical arrangement, as we have the media sternum arrangement. It is basically an anatomical position. Likewise, kidneys are located in retroperitoneal arrangement. Now, when it comes to kidneys, these are externally covered by a layer. They are externally covered by a layer of thick these are externally covered by a layer of tough connective tissues, which is known as the renal fascia. Renal fascia, or we also call that as peritoneum. On the other hand side, if we talk about, on the other hand side, if we talk about, this is renal fascia, right? It's not mentioned in the diagram. So renal fascia is there on the outer side, right? And on the other hand side, if we talk about the structure of kidney is a bean shaped organ. It is a bean shaped organ which is reddish brownish in color, and it is convex. It is basically convex on the outer side and concave on the inner side. As you may see, it is convex on the outer side and concave on the inner side. Convex on the outer side and concave on the inner side, due to which this side is convex, this side is concave. The concave side is basically known as the medial side, and the convex side is basically having the upper region known as the renal cortex. Now, when it comes to some specific functions of kidneys, we are going to discuss that later on as well. But for now, just to give you an insight into its endocrine role, that kidney plays role in endocrine, as an endocrine organ as well, because it secretes erythropoietin. It secretes erythropoietin. It is basically a hormone, and it is a hormone which initiates the synthesis of RBCs, initiates the conversion of RBC stem cells, RBC's stem cells into the red blood cells. These are the cells which are responsible for the conversion of RBC stem cells into the red blood cells, erythropoietins. On the other side, there is also secretion of renin. Renin is basically a hormone which is responsible for maintaining the blood pressure by adjusting the amount of sodium ions, by adjusting the number of sodium ions in the blood. By releasing sodium ions into the blood, it causes to adjust the blood pressure of the blood as well. On the other side, right, this is the concave side, that is the convex side, and alongside that, this is the convex and this is the concave side. concave, convex side. And when it comes to the internal structure of kidney, internally the kidney is also covered by a layer. Internally, kidney is also covered by a capsule type structure. Internally, it is covered by a layer, a capsule type structure which is known as the renal capsule. It is a fibrous capsule. It is a fibrous capsule which is known as the renal capsule. In between the renal capsule and the renal fascia, we have a layer of thick fatty tissues. These works as insulating. It works as an insulating layer. These fatty tissues works as an insulating layer. Apart from which, when it comes to the internal structure, internally kidney is divided into two major regions. Number one is the renal cortex, which is the outer convex region. Outer convex region is known as the renal convex, which is lighter in color, and that basically contains cortical nephrons. This basically contains cortical nephrons and contains these contain the cortical nephron, as well as the the cortical nephrons and the Malpighian body, proximal convoluted tubule, and distal convoluted tubule of the juxtamedullary nephron. We're going to discuss those in the next video as well. So this is what we call as the cortex, and after cortex we've got cortex is basically having some pyramids like structure. Vertical pyramid like vertical projections are there, which are known as the renal pyramids, which are found 7 to 18 in number, and the space between the renal pyramids are known as the renal columns. These are known as the renal columns, and these renal columns are the spaces between the renal pyramids. On the other side, these renal pyramids are basically connected to some major calyces, such that when the urine is collected from the collecting duct in the nephron, the collecting duct drains into the minor calyx. From the minor calyx, the urine then passes into the major calyx, and from the major calyx, it passes into the renal pelvis, from where it is then transported into the urinary tract. So, in that sense, this is a function of minor calyx and major calyx, which is the transport of urine, while the formation of urine only occurs in nephron. One more thing that I would like to highlight over here. One more thing that I would like to highlight over here, that the internal region, which is the medullary region, is internal region. Outer region is known as cortex, and internal region is known as the medulla. It is basically darker region, and it is darker region. It is it is concave region, and it is medially concave, and there is a medial this medially concave region is having a medial depression. This is a medial depression of the uh, medullary region, which is known as the renal sinus. It is medial depression is known as renal sinus. Within the renal sinus, we have an area where the materials go in and out of the kidney. For example, nerves, um, renal artery, renal vein, renal pelvis, lymphatic vessels come in and out of the kidney with through an area which is known as the hilum. On the other hand side, if we talk about from the hilum, uh, the urine drains into the renal pelvis, wider region, which is the wider region of the kidney, from where a wider region of the kidney where the urine is collected. Yes, and in kidney we have the supply of oxygenated and non-purified, non-oxygenated and tox- oxygenated and nitrogenous waste containing blood from the renal artery, and deoxygenated and purified blood in the renal vein. So this is about the structure of kidney. And one more thing that I'd like to highlight over here is about the one more thing that I would like to highlight over here. One more thing that I would like to highlight over here is that the renal artery further divides itself into the arterioles in kidneys, and these renal artery further divides itself into the efferent arterioles, which further goes into the nephron, and that further forms a glomerulus, which we are going to discuss in the next video. So that's all about this video. Hopefully, we meet again in another video.